Hello everyone, um, welcome to another edition of ThreeTings. I hope you guys have been liking what I've been having to say. I do feel a little bit of feedback, but not too much. But just giving my opinion on certain topics that I think I want to give opinions on. So anyway, that being said, today what we're going to speak on is just immigration. I think I'm going to answer why I'm not going to criticize Greece, Italy and Spain. I would say those three nations. Next, I'm going to answer who I think should be dealing with the migrant issue, or how they should maybe go about it. And that'd be it really. That'd be it. A little bit more maybe, but we'll see. We're just going to speak about immigration, right? Now, that being said, man, I just wanted to say, I've had, it's just in with the current climate, just, people try to speak about things that happened, say, hundreds of years ago, and maybe want you to rehash and repeat some of the bad practices from European countries against the rest of the world that, we'll say, sort of, even up to now, maybe hundreds of years ago, and history's history at the end of the day. There's nothing you can do about it. And they are trying to make things equal, in the space of 20 years. You've got people, being able to realistically, be available for work and jobs that were never there in the past, So I'd like to think they're trying to make an equal society, but you can never truly. It's a balancing act, yeah. But I just really wanted to say why I've got no criticism for these countries, almost zero really, is for this fact, for the foreseeable future, for this century, if there's any unrest, any socio sort of economic dynamic that doesn't heed well for anybody, say in the southern hemisphere, Asia and Africa especially, or if there's war, the trend is to travel northwards towards Europe. Yeah, that is it now. Europe, they don't say it, but it's become like the promised land, And we may complain, but people see it as the place to go to seek refuge, whether you like it or not. They're not coming to play games or whatever. They don't see any other option. So for that reason, I believe Italy, Spain, and Greece, you're about to be taken. Ireland as well, we could speak about it another time. You're literally about to be taken. Whichever way you want to take it. Your culture is about to be. It's in danger. It's in danger. It's no joke. It's in danger. And to be replaced by what? A melting pot of what? Do you know what I mean? But it's in danger of being replaced as the herd from the southern hemisphere sort of uses your place and walks its way and tramples through your country onto the next, until it gets to the coast of France and sees the beacon of light, which is Britain, And this is why I've got no criticism for you, really. because I believe your country is going to be trampled upon. Those three countries, like, if not already. I just listened to an article, I read an article this week, 350%, like, in Greece. That's the increase within a year of migrant movement coming from other places, yeah? It's a big migrant route, yeah? And, Greece has just closed its asylum system and suspended it for 3 months, which they may be in contravention of certain human rights laws, but they can take no more, And I would say, yeah, those three countries, you're in danger of being overrun, if not already, And you're gonna be criticized the most. You're gonna ship a lot of criticism from people trying to get through your country to go on to the next, and you are gonna be scapegoated as the worst in Europe, potentially, just for trying to hold on to your culture, which has its good parts, has its bad. History's history, right? But that's what I envisage. I envisage you're gonna be like, definitely, like, you're gonna bear the brunt of this, And the reason why I say, like, it's a European-wide thing and Europe has to get together on it, only because, like, someone like myself, situated in Britain, if Europe can get together and solve this issue, it means, like, someone has no chance of getting through all the other countries to get to Britain, and be unregistered here, So I think, as a British person, you want to get the Europeans involved and try and stop this thing at root, But, yeah, I just wanted to say, that's all I envisage. I envisage those three countries being absolutely overrun, in the next sort of 50 years. And they may look unrecognisable very, very shortly. And they're going to get criticised either way, and their culture's going to be, like, diminished, And who I was thinking, who I'd be angry with if I was Europe? I'd be angry with England the most, Britain the most. Can you imagine, like, Britain, because of their hospitality, right? It's like a beacon. It's like any human being. It's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Everywhere else is not giving me this, but if I can get here, they're going to give me this. So I've got to go through all these other places. So Britain's holding up a torch saying, please come. Please come across Europe. Please pilgrimage across Europe. If they never advertised what they could do or how they look after people, maybe those people wouldn't set off on that trip. Maybe they'd stop where they are. Maybe they'd stop where you are, or whatever. It would cause such a significant ripple effect. But the fact that they're marketing that you can get a job pretty much, you can work pretty much as soon as possible, and you've got access to, like, better facilities than someone on holiday that's paid. They're gonna. Why would you not? So I think Britain is causing a lot of problems for the European Union by advertising the fact that they'll give you a 4 or 5 star hotel. I was joking about a 4-star hotel. I keep writing it. I never realised they actually do. Like, you actually can get 4-star hotel. Whilst, like, pensioners are freezing. So this is it, and plus as well, like, you got the unregistered people. You don't know, like, what's going on with them either. They're unregistered, so it's created a lot of chaos, and a lot of anxiety in people's minds. But I just feel that Britain's hospitality is literally causing an issue for Europe and making people want to walk through other countries just to get here and just literally trample upon them, just like a herd of elephants, and yeah, it doesn't bode well. You know, and what I'd suggest going forward is that obviously the way migrants or immigrants are treated across Europe needs to be in unison, needs to be dealt with in a unilateral way, where like everybody either goes A or goes B, and you all give out the same similar type of benefit. But also on top of that, like, man, I look at the TV and I see all these men of fighting age moving into Europe centres. These men, like, they're gonna need wives, girlfriends, or what's gonna happen? Like, where they're gonna go? So all these men moving into city, like, foreseeably, it's definitely gonna cause some type of unrest, man. Definitely, it's just men, So I would definitely say that when I see them like coming out of their country and in their droves, thousands of them, I'm thinking those fighting age men, they're the men that should be made to stay within their parameters of their country and rebuild it. They're the people. They're all the intelligence, all the manpower, all the entrepreneurial minded people. They're not all criminals, right? They're all leaving, and they're leaving the weak and whoever else in their country. Yeah, when really they should be made to stay and made to rebuild their countries, man. And if they're made to stay, yeah, I'm telling you, like, it would dissipate and dissolve like war. If you can't go nowhere and you have to stay, you start to negotiate. But knowing you can just leave at the drop of a hat, have some hardship, but then get to Europe and then, work your way up. It's too much of a... I'm not going to say it's an easy option, but it's an option that people are taking. And, they're leaving their own homes when really, sometimes if you forced a set of people to stay within their parameters, things would change, They would have to negotiate. They would be much more of a passive society knowing they can't go nowhere, Because let me give you like an example, man. I lived out of town in a place called Northampton for a while. And one thing I sort of studied and observed, I watched that people would see each other on a regular basis and how they'd get on. And I'd never seen that because in London, growing up, you could tell somebody to go and fuck themselves. Yeah, and you never see them again. Yeah, literally. Yeah, right. You might not see them again, right? But in a small town, I realised that you've got no option but to get along with certain people. And certain times people are a lot more friendly towards each other because they know they're going to bump into each other. It's impossible. There's only a couple of supermarkets. There's only one train station. You're going to have to... So I realised there's like a sort of social dynamic difference that people in Northampton never realised that I noticed. Yeah, they weren't even noticed, yeah. And it's changed now, obviously. It's getting like London, but... Fact of the matter is, you're going to see someone a lot more regular, so you need to think about how you're going to speak to them. And with employers, there's only a few, so you need to be careful with how you don't want to get a bad name around work and stuff like that, So I was quite mindful of this, even though I wasn't really in their society, if you know what I mean. But then the same applies to like the international scene. Yeah, like if you know you can't leave your country and you're made to stay, you will make things right. But when you know you can just leave, it just leaves everything in tatters and puts the problem onto another country. Nah, people should be made to stay at their country, So, yeah, I would definitely say those three countries need help from the rest of Europe. Because if you can sort of maybe curtail this thing at root, yeah, control it a lot better at root. There's less people that come out the other end. But also as well, Britain just putting up that beacon, that lighthouse, and just saying, this is what you get when you get to the end of the tunnel. You're causing problems for the rest of Europe by having a system that's generous or more generous than the rest of Europe. So moving on to my next point. Obviously, we've got here that the UK brings forward world's first sanctions regime to smash the gangs responsible for irregular migration. Anyone complicit in facilitating people smuggling to the UK will be at risk of having their assets frozen and being banned from travelling to Britain under new powers announced by the Foreign Secretary today. So anyone complicit in facilitating people smuggling to the UK could be sanctioned from tomorrow. Targets will have assets frozen but shut off from the UK financial system and banned from travelling to the UK under new regime targeting supply of money and material enabling irregular migration. New sanctions are the latest tool in the UK's arsenal to secure Britain's borders, reduce irregular migration and deliver on the plan for change. So basically, right, this is on the government's website now. I can't believe it. They've replaced the word, well, I never looked at it beforehand, but they've replaced the word for illegal migration to irregular migration. I can't believe that. Right. But anyway, that being said, like, so they're going to put sanctions on like the ringleaders and people that are making boats and bringing sort of rafts and dinghies to northwest France and all this sort of stuff. You know, and they're going to start, you know, going at the ringleaders and stuff like this. When I think it's already too late and it's a waste of time. You know? Like, to me, I would just like, everybody's seen. You see them, don't you? You do see them coming. You pick up, you know the numbers of people. No one sort of goes undetected nowadays. You know, you got the technology, unless they're hiding in a container, that you see them coming over. So they should either, one, just be stopped from coming over, right, in a physical way. Yeah. Two, if they do get over, they should just be processed and, you know, either you give them opportunities or you fly them somewhere else, you know. But you don't make it hospitable for people to think they can just come and it's easy, you know. As hard as it is. But yeah, you just stop the boats. Like, what's all this like? You're going out looking for lynch kingpins and all this. Because once you take one out, another one will, do you know what I mean? Fill the gap, fill the vacuum. No, you don't need to communicate with these people. You just need to stop the boats coming. Right, now, right, so next, who I'd get to stop small boat crossings is the next section I want to cover. Who I'd get to handle this. You know, if you're in the military, right, you know, most military, like, they're like military families, right? Like, I can see with all these men without wives coming into town centres by their thousands, year upon year, it's foreseeable that there could be some type of insurgency or uprising, you know, where the military will have to get to the streets to quell the unrest, but also could be in street-to-street battles with another force, whoever they may well be, yeah, right? If that happens, yeah, like, maybe you're in the military now, but that'll be your child, foreseeably, or your grandchild. I reckon it'd be a lot sooner than that, potentially, right? And you're the first people to put yourselves on the line. And, you know, when it comes to planning and things like that, politicians, yeah, they might plan a town or whatever and everything, but it's all in theory and it's not really real. But you guys plan operations that are, I survive or not, you know. So to deal with the small boat crossings, people always say it, they ring up on radio stations, but the military should be demanding, should be imploring, should be fully saying to the UK government, we need to handle this. Give us the authority to handle this. And the reason being is because foreseeably, up the road, me being in the UK Army or me being in the military, I'm going to be on. It's my life on the line, not yours. I can see this foreseeably be in a situation where, the UK is going to be up against it, and it's going to go to the streets of England. It's going to go crazy. So, can we handle this? We need to handle this because you're now putting us at risk. That's how I see it. So I believe that the UK military should be, if it's not being handled correctly by a certain date that they give the government, they should be dealing with it themselves. No, not violence or anything like that. Violence if need be, but no, they should be blocking that and processing these people, because it's foreseeable. Like, you've got people from many different backgrounds, many different types of ideologies, and more importantly, man, you've got a lot of people from war-torn backgrounds, like with all types of issue going on. God forbid, man, what, someone loses their family or whatever, man, they're never the same again. They're never the same, right or wrong. They're never the same. Not to say they're useless human, but they're never the same. So you've got all these people, all these men that have got like PTSD running around, and do you know what? You're just gonna create an insurgency. And this is what I wanted to go on about and speak about next, right? Is like Europe, like this is one thing you're known for, yeah, right? And America, yeah, they like to say America lost this war, they lost the Vietnam War. They lost in Afghanistan, Britain lost here, lost there, whatever, lost in Afghanistan, lost in Iraq or whatever, they had to go back home. But the fact of the matter is, all the wars that you've been having previously haven't been on home turf. They've been in other people's principalities, they've been in other people's countries. Yeah. We're better to have a war like in Vietnam or in America, if you're America. Like the Vietnamese, they say, did lose like almost 10 men to every one American soldier. And the reason being is because it was on their land. Had it had been in New York or in America, it would have been vice versa. The same, yeah? So like you're inviting, these practices, you're inviting like the wars that you've been having internationally and globally, you're allowing them to filter onto the streets of England, where innocents are innocent bystanders are gonna get taken by the wayside, and they're in the middle of it, Last few hundred years or whatever, all the battles have been abroad. Second World War, even you kept Germany out. Do you know what I mean? Right? Technically. So like allowing sort of people that may have a different ideology or maybe were at war with you a little while ago, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, absolutely ludicrous. Yeah. But, if these people are good, you're saying they're good, all right, fair enough. But you've got to put a control on it, man. Like, to me, like, the next sort of 100 year or whatever, it's up to he who controls his population. That's what I think. Those that control their population are gonna go up in this world. Are gonna see the upside. But if you can't put a control on your population, you won't be able to manipulate the world how you see fit. But if you can control your population, yeah. Everyone has a go at China for this one child policy, and it was, from a personal standpoint, it's mean, right? But they realised, like, we've got too much people at hand here. We need to calm down our rate increase of population, or we're just gonna, be too much, and we're not gonna have the resources and this and that. So could have been the right thing to do, But fact of the matter is, man, I just read this morning there's 750 million people in Europe, right? 9 billion people in the world. You're outnumbered almost 15 to 1. Yeah. Forget about race. You're outnumbered 15 to 1. Anytime there's an issue elsewhere in the world, these people are going to be coming towards you. You know, so you need to put the right barriers, and there needs to be ramifications. They need to like be made aware, like we need to make our country great. Because if we come to Europe, we're never gonna. It's not gonna work. You know, no matter the sad story, to keep balance within the world, like this is what needs to happen. If not, whatever's happening in their place, it's gonna mirror here. It's gonna happen here. You know, you're in 2024. Do you want to go back to 1915, 1918? Do you want to go back to 1800s? This is what's going to foreseeably happen if you carry on with this business, man. Like, so, summing up, the small boat crossings, I believe, should be handled tomorrow. Interceptions, whatever it is you want to do, should be stopped. These people are processed properly under law. But you just can't have people like turning up on shores, running amok and this and that. And also the 4-star hotel business. It's not a good look. But I feel like Britain is causing a lot of problems in Europe now. Because of like the beacon that they're showing. You know. Now I feel sorry for these people. But I can just see it. If you stop these people from even leaving their own country. Right. It'll create a chain reaction effect where like societies now need to communicate with each other, and it will stop the warring. But once people know they can run from country to country to country, it never stop, man. Anyway, that brings Three Things this episode to an end. I hope this message reaches you well. Yeah, and deliver this message straight to your heart because it's from mine. All right, take care. Bless.